Procrastination is seen as the freeze response. When people procrastinate, it's because they freeze.
Hi everyone, it's Sun, also known as Hungry Gopher, where we help busy, mature women heal their skin and gut health naturally. Today, I'm thrilled to have Diego with us today. He's have been living 1,000 years and he looks great for to be 1,000-year-old. I met him at Stoneview Nature Center in my neighborhood where I take my yoga classes, and he's definitely one of my favorite yoga teacher. And he's a very experienced yoga and meditation teacher. And today we're going to talk about why so many of us struggle with sustainable lifestyle changes and how to create lasting habits for better health. So tell us briefly about your background and how you got into yoga and meditation, and what drives your passion for helping others.
Oh, thank you so much first for the invitation and the opportunity to be here. It's a pleasure. I always enjoy your presence also as a student of my classes. You have a very refined yoga practice, and I always enjoy when I see my students and when I see the expression, because, the asana practice is an expression, and seeing that is always a pleasure for me. I've been doing this for about 20 years already. I was the vice president of sales in a corporation, and then I decided to quit, and I decided to dedicate myself to explore, which in yoga we call consciousness, the creator of the universe in the yoga cosmology. I study in Carlsbad in California, in the San Diego area. I study with Deepak Chopra and his school. I graduated there as a yoga teacher, as a meditation teacher, as an Ayurveda instructor. For those that do not know, Ayurveda is a sister discipline of yoga, and is considered by the worldwide health organization of one of the first healing system in the planet. And so I basically explore in those areas, and over the years, I realized that my main goal, I would say my dharma, my purpose in life is to hold people's hands and walk them into the practice of meditation. Most people believe that yoga is, not very related to meditation. Meditation is the core of the practice of yoga. And you were part of this. You know that in my yoga classes, there is always a few moments of the class in which you are going to meditate one way or another. So my mission in this planet at this moment is to grab people's hands and say, hey, meditate, meditate, meditate. It's a transformational practice, and I really encourage everyone to meditate.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. So let's dive right into the people struggle a lot in my community and also myself. Why do so many people struggle to maintain a habit like healthy eating and stress management and self-care? Like why do you think that's so difficult? And what would you suggest for them to do?
All right. So it's an amazing question. For me, we should talk a little bit about what procrastination is and how yoga sees this. Okay, because in a wrong way, I think, at least is my perspective, people believe that procrastination is the lack of discipline, and it's not. Procrastination is a response to stress. In the Western research, we should go to Walter Cannon, 1933. He was this great physiologist that bring the fight-flight response. Everyone know about the fight-flight response. Basically ready to fight or ready to flight when you are facing any stressful situation. Now, in the latest research, let's say by the end of last century, there come up another response that is included in this fight-flight response, which is called the freeze response. Procrastination is seen as the freeze response. When people procrastinate, it's because they freeze. And if you check a little bit, you what is the research? I did the research, and if you check what is the definition of researchers on procrastination, they call it an unconscious attempt to feel better now. An unconscious attempt to feel better now. So this is definitely related to then stress. When you feel stress, and most of us are. Yesterday I was talking with a therapist, and then we were talking about LA, and then we say, well, LA is a very stressful city. Yes, we are all facing a lot of stress. So there are a few suggestions in order to start shifting what the question was: why we procrastinating, why we are not able to dedicate myself in a better way to be more helpful. First thing, you are not a procrastinator. You procrastinate. This is very important. It's a behavior. It's a behavior that you develop. Okay. There are a few different types of procrastinations. They talk about destructive procrastination and productive procrastination. But just to put it together, there are two types of destructive procrastination: the micro and the micro. The micro are all these little things that we do that delay what we need to go through. For example, you are about to have a work on a presentation, and then you say, I'm going to have a cup of tea first. Okay, so then you spend 5-10 minutes creating the cup of tea, and then you place the cup of tea on the desk, and then you're going to start writing about the presentation. Say, I'm going to dedicate a couple of minutes to send some text because the text walk in, and so on. So this is type of the micro that we go all the time, going up and down, but that's fine. But then we have the macro, and that's difficult, and that's the one, like, as an example, you have a presentation due on Monday, and it's Sunday night, and you are watching on Netflix a 3 hours long movie with a glass of red wine in your hand. Well, probably the presentation is not going to be very well done, and that's something that happened. And this is something that we constantly do. So the important part is to learn that we can stop it. Why we can stop it? Because this is a vicious cycle that we have built as a coping mechanism. And why we do this? Because we are going through stressful situations, and then we are asking ourselves a little bit more of what we are capable in response to that stress we're going through. So the suggestions, to make it this short, for the researchers, because after this I would like to tell you what yoga sees, how yoga sees this story. This is what Western researchers think. The suggestion for the Western researchers is forgive yourself by recognizing that you are doing it. And this is very important. We need to recognize that we are procrastinating, that we are not doing what theoretically need to be done. Okay, so we forgive ourselves by realizing, yes, I am doing this. The second thing is to, and if you want, we can do an exercise on that, is to realize what is stressing you. What is stressing you at this moment? This is very important, because most of our day we spend thinking about things that somehow, enter our mind or enter our heart. And those thoughts are a little bit repetitive. 75% of the thoughts we have in one day are the same. So we are ruminating about these ideas.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, yes, absolutely. And the third thing that researchers suggest is what the future you want to do. After you realize and you forgive yourself, and after you understand what is stressing you, then start doing it. Whatever it is, presentation, start writing it, because what is going to happen is that you probably are going to keep going with this. So don't use the excuse of, once again, I procrastinate again, to pour the second glass of wine, because it's not going to work. So you want to go into the place and start doing it, and then you will see that things are going to start happening. Now, do I have the time? I would like to tell you what yoga thinks about this.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of things you mentioned that really resonated with me from what I've studied the past 10 years. One So procrastination, like you said, it's not laziness, it's not your inability. Like you said, there's a reason it helps you because it's having you avoid the things that you think it's not what you think. You subconsciously it's blocking you. Like you might get embarrassed if you don't do well in a presentation, or
Mhm.
like I this happens a lot when I record a video or go sharing my stories with my even students, my face gets red because in my culture, what I learned is that sharing my story and teaching someone is shameful for a woman when I
Mhm.
was growing up. So literally my immune system will react to it without me thinking about it because it's unconscious. My face gets flushed, my heart is pumping, my hands get sweaty. So your subconscious is it's always driving you. So what's really like so my like one of my mentors is a neuropsychologist, and this is what he taught what you said. Most of us thinks the same thing 75% of the time, right? Like a day. So if you have like about what the scientists say, we have about 30,000 thoughts a day. But if
Yes.
your 75% of your thoughts are negative or repeating pattern, that's what it is. And that's what neuropsychologists call default mode network. So it's not people that I serve my students, like when I talk to them, they're incredibly intelligent and very driven. These are the people who have recurring skin issues and digestive problems for years. And I talked to a woman who didn't eat chocolate for like 15 years, and I cannot
Mm.
imagine the discipline of the person, yet she's sicker. So this is a really, really point. So I really love that part. You first of all, you have to know when you do it, right? So I did that a lot. Like I mean, I was a queen of like eating in front of TV or watching Netflix and just like drinking and eating the day after, especially Friday night. Like my husband and I will wake up in the morning on Saturday morning and we go to the living room, we go, what happened last night? It's like a war zone, right? Like there's so many just chocolate bar, just the wrapper. So we experienced all of this, but what's powerful is that like these days when I reach out for a glass of wine or chocolate, I still do. But the frequency and intensity has shrank. So when I have a glass, I mean I still fall like probably 3 times out of 10. I used to fall 9 times out of 10, but this stage, okay, I'm catching myself. All right, I'm overdoing it. And I catch myself and I go into my sensations, go to my body. Literally, you're being there at the moment, right? Then I have to break the pattern. So I usually, okay, I'm celebrating. I cut myself. I take a walk in the neighborhood and I come back and I reset literally. So this is one of the very powerful pillars that I've learned that I've implemented because I was diagnosed. I mean, no diagnosis. I collapsed into the bathroom about 7 years ago with
Oh.
severe vertigo and very low energy. And I ate very clean for 9 months and I spent thousands of dollars on the west side. We live in affluent community here. So I spent thousands of dollars for holistic medicine and going to see acupuncturist. My blood work was perfect. Nothing's wrong with me. I was bedridden for over 9 months. So
Oh,
this
wow.
is when I met my one of my mentors, this Dr. Mario Martinez, called the connections between gut health and brain health and how culture shaped your subconsciousness. It's not you're born with it. So if you like the great example is if you see so I got a little overspin here, but so Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy are very similar. I think the what I really love about Eastern philosophy, Buddhist psychology, I learned this from a Korean Zen master, Pomyun Sunim. Um, he really emphasized on the Buddha teaching of at the core being there's nothing wrong with you unless you harm someone, right? So there's nothing even to forgive. So we are so taught to blame ourselves when we exactly don't follow what we plan to do or what our parents expected us to do, right? So it's all learned. So like I don't like from the Buddhist teaching, I don't think you even have to forgive. You literally go like, okay, I made a simple mistake. Like, and go to a curiosity rather than fear. You go to curiosity, go like, okay, like what triggered that? Because they're just small trigger, it spiraled down, right? So
For sure.
that's,
And
yeah,
also it's important to understand that when you are in that place, when you recognize that something is happening, that's the beginning of solve the problem. Because if
yeah,
not, it's impossible to solve a problem. You need to understand that this is happening. And
yeah,
that's the beginning. If you understand that this is happening, well, then you make have that back and forth situations, but you are going to begin the process to heal what needs to be healed because you
yeah,
realize that is happening. And as I say before, the suggestion for Western researchers is good. You need to forgive yourself because if you criticize yourself, then the vicious cycle is going to keep going.
yeah. That's a very good
Think
point.
about how yoga sits because this is very interesting. When you study yoga, the first that you study or the first thing that is described in the exploration of yoga are called the yamas and the niyamas. Okay, yamas and niyamas. Now I'm not gonna go into this, and I'm going to be very simple basic. I'm gonna give very simple basic explanation, but basically this is not exactly what it is, but for the purpose of this conversation, it will help. The yamas are the rules of social behavior, how you behave when you are around people. And the
Mhm.
niyamas are the rules of personal behavior, how you behave when nobody's watching you. So those are the two type of different no, groups, the yamas and the niyamas. Tapas, which is what I would like to talk today, is the third of the five niyamas, the rules of social behaviors, personal behavior, I'm sorry. And it means, literally means a discipline. That's what tapas mean, discipline. Now, it's not the type of discipline that we are accustomed to think. You know, we say procrastination, well, is the lack of discipline. Well, no, we already saw that it's not. It's different. And when we talk about discipline, we have this idea of, whoa, we have to be disciplined. No, this sort of thing. I remember my father when I was a kid, he used to call me pechito de pollo, which means in literally translated, maybe doesn't mean anything in English, chicken chest, because the chickens, have a very small chest.
Yeah.
So he want me to go it's not that he want me, he made me every day in the morning, very early in the morning, whatever was the temperature, to go out and do breathing exercises with opening the chest and with the
Oh,
arms.
wow. That's
Okay,
awesome.
I am not talking about that type of discipline. Okay. This is not the discipline we are talking about, neither yoga talks about, because we don't want that. Nobody wants that. But the type of discipline yoga talks about is transformation. Tapas is related to the element of fire, and fire transform. In yoga, we are very connected with the five elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth. Space is pure potential. If you see the five elements as five elements, well, it's a fairy tale. But if you see the five elements as the quality of them, space is pure potential. Nothing can happen without a space. Air is movement. What happens, the quality of air is the movement. Fire is transformation. Fire transforms things. Water protect. Earth is solidity, structure. Those are the qualities. What is transformation? Well, transformation is not change. I can change my hand from here to here, but I can change it back. When you change, there is a change back. Transformation, there is no back. You put some chocolate, some eggs, some water, you mix it, you put it on the oven through fire, you are not going to find the eggs, the water, and the chocolate. You're going to find a brownie. That's what
Mhm.
fire does. What tapas basically is the transformation of the whole habits. You need,
Mm.
according to yoga, to transform the old habits. And how you transform them? By burning away the lasting impressions. We just keep holding on the lasting impressions. And this is something that we learn in meditation a lot, because when we meditate, we basically realize that we are full of lasting impressions. We really realize that basically we believe that this is me, and in reality, this is not me, but a build-up of lasting impressions. Okay? And then these obstacles that keep us away from living in the light, in this case, you are very specific. You are talking about health and the health of our. You're much more specific. You dedicate yourself to the gut health and to the skin health. So you're very sharp into a particular part of the healing process, which is great. So the obstacles that keep us from living in the light are frozen bits of consciousness. This is how yoga sees it. Frozen bits of consciousness. Yoga sees as these lasting impressions that somehow got frozen in there, and that's it. So there is this old quote from very old sage. I exactly don't remember. His name was Lao Tzu. And then Lao Tzu used to say, when I let go of who I am, I may become what I might be. So in the yoga tradition, when we talk about tapas, what we are doing basically is burning away all these old habits, because these old habits somehow manage to become who I am, but they are not who you are. They are just old habits. Okay, so you want to burn them away in order to become what you might be. And that's how you work on discipline on yoga. So basically, the recommendation would be to put yourself away from the story. When you are able to put yourself away from the story, then the secret behind discipline is that you really want to transform through dedication, through commitment, through focus, which are things that when you say dedication, commitment, focus, you just feel like, okay, what are you talking about? Dedication, it requires a lot. Commitment, it requires a lot. Focusing, it requires a lot. Now, I changed the perspective. Think about a game, something that you love to do, a hobby. For example, I don't know, gardening. Do you like gardening? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Think about gardening. When you are gardening, you dedicate yourself, you commit, and you focus, and it's absolutely natural. Absolutely natural. Nobody's pushing you. It's not your father calling you pechito de pollo. It's not the discipline. It's nothing related to that. You are looking for the light through dedication, commitment, and focus, because it's something that naturally comes to you. And that's how yoga sees discipline, because awareness is naturally looking for the light.
Yeah.
And then therefore, what we really need to work on is on awareness, because when we become aware of these things that we are doing, and you were saying it right now, right? Then things start really changing, and that's how we pursue discipline.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, awareness is definitely a beginning and probably the ending of everything. That's really beautiful. So I didn't know about tapas. That's really like a beautiful concept. It's very poetic. I love that. So how can busy women integrate these practices into their daily routines without adding more overwhelm? Because often the woman that come to my society, and in my society, they'll usually they just have too much to do, and they're overwhelmed, and just adding another practice is just so overwhelming to them. So what would you suggest to them? Like, what are the 3 simple
Yes,
steps
I wrote a few questions that you would like to ask yourself. If you may, I can read them, because I wrote a few questions that I think that would be interesting for people to reflect on, instead to just tell them, okay, do 5 minutes of meditation, do 30 minutes of yoga in the morning. I wrote few questions that I think that, and maybe you can even, I send them to you later after the recording, and you can place it in there to
Oh,
help your
you can share it
audience
with us now if you want. You can
yeah,
share
to
it with
help
us
your
now.
audience to reflect on this.
Okay, do you have those? Can you say
I
this
do
on the
have them.
recording? Okay,
I do
yeah.
have them. Let me read them for you. The
Yeah,
first
that'll be great.
question: are you interested in finding your true self?
Okay,
That would be the first question. Are you interested in finding your true self?
okay,
Mm. Because if you are not interested in finding your true self, well, it's going to be difficult to create a good environment for you to heal yourself.
yeah.
Do you enjoy going within? How much you enjoy going within is something that should be done in a regular basis. Every day we should go within. Most of the time we spend going without constantly. So
Yeah,
do you enjoy going within? Do you recall being in the light? This is something that happened to all of us. We all have
yeah,
been in the light for 5 minutes, for 1 minute, for a day, right? Sometimes holding the hand of the person that you love, sometimes looking at the sunset, sometimes being in contact with nature. So, do you recall being in the light? Recall those moments, go into those moments, and then feel what's going on with you when you were in those moments. Are you looking outside or inside? That would be the following question. Are you looking outside or inside? Because looking outside is what we do all day long. Now, it's very important to look inside in order to understand the responses we are having.
yeah,
Are you able
yeah,
to step back and make conscious choices? That's another important question. Are you able to step back and say, hey, stop, let's stop a little bit. What I am doing? Why I am doing this? Why I am doing this? Next question. Are you welcoming change or are you resisting it? This is
yeah,
an important
yeah,
thing because most of the time we don't like change. I always have the story of this student of mine that came to my class in the studio 20 years ago, and then she was always taking the same place on the studio until the day that a newbie came by. Everyone knew that she likes that place, so nobody take it. But one day a new person came in and then took that place, and the class wasn't the same for her anymore. Makes sense? So
interesting.
when
Yeah,
something changed, what is your response? Are you resisting it or you are embracing it? Are you mirroring yourself on each experience? This is something that I love and I dedicate, it's one of my commitments for 2025. Are you mirroring yourself on each experience? Because each experience is how the universe is talking with you. The universe is constantly sending you a message. Each experience, if you are able to be present on each experience, then things start going to unfold in a different way. Most of the time, we go in automatic. Life, John Lennon, I think, used to say, life is that what happened when we are thinking on something else.
yeah, yeah. Cool, great. There are a lot of questions to go through.
Yes, and the last one, I have one more. Are you taking
Okay,
time down every day? Are you taking time down every day? Because
that's a
every
very important one. That's the most important one, I believe.
yes,
Yeah,
time
yeah,
down. I am
yeah.
holding, and you know that I am holding a retreat on the 28th of March. Basically, I call it, how I'm gonna call this workshop? I'm going to call it PTO, personal time off. Take time off, please. Nothing's gonna happen if you take time for yourself.
Yeah, beautiful things will happen actually when you take time for yourself. Like, yeah, I think that's great. That's yeah. So yeah, one takeaway I'll encourage the viewers, like, yeah, take the time to yourself. I think that's probably the most important part. And then you're gonna start seeing some changes. So awesome. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and the years of experience and what I've learned through your experience and from great teachers. So thank you for sharing that so much, and it's been so helpful. Where can people find you if they want to learn more about your classes or workshops or retreats?
Thank you. I am holding the first Monday of every month. I am holding a meditation seminar through Zoom. Everyone can access to the seminar. It's just by donation. If you are not able to do a contribution, no worries, just come in. This done through Zoom, and it's done every Monday, the first Monday, of each month. That's one thing that I have available. The second thing I have available at this moment for people is this retreat that I'm going to do in March and June on Culver City, on Stoneview. This is a PTO, a personal time off, one day, entire day for you to explore meditation, yoga, Ayurveda. We are going to have Ayurvedic meals. It's going to be a beautiful retreat. And the third thing that I am offering this year is an international retreat in Mexico. I'm holding a retreat in La Ventana in Baja California in Mexico. It's going to be in October. I am putting together the dates and everything, but we are going to be 2 weeks there. 1 week first group, and the second week the second group. You can reach me if you type MYA, which is the name of my company, Maya, MYA, which means meditation, yoga, Ayurveda, MYA, and my name, Diego Gesualdi. You're going to find me out there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. If you've been struggling with recurring skin or gut issues and want to creating lasting health habits, be sure to check out my 90-day Korean gut and skin rejuvenation program. And you can book a free clear skin and gut health breakthrough call following the link below this video. And all the links that Diego mentioned where to find his wonderful retreat and other resources, I'll put in the comment box below. So check them out. And thank you again, Diego. And thank you for
so
everything for joining us.
My pleasure to be here, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
My pleasure. Thank you, Allah. I'm honored. Visit HealYourSkin.today. Discover your power to heal your gut and get clear skin.